Oh, I actually want to talk about. So I want to bring up the Apple Watch again, and um, it's just because all the news articles coming out these last couple days have really angered me quite a bit. And I don't know, for those of you who have seen my videos of the Apple Watch, once again, let me state my position first. I do not hate it. I'm actually really happy that it's out. I'm very finally, like, for me, finally, the Apple users finally have a smartwatch. They can finally get on board to the smartwatch game and welcome to the future. And now we can move on with the world and move on with the tech. My gripe against it is it wasn't the best they could have done it. They pretty much went the typical first generation route, because they're gonna sell 50 million of these damn things, and then 6 months down the line they're gonna announce the Apple Watch 2 with all these improvements all of a sudden that they invented, that didn't exist, all these new features and hardware, and they're gonna make billions more. Let's not focus on that for aspect. For me is all these tech firms. What really hit a core with me was, like, I'm actually going to be doing a video on why the Samsung Gear S is technically the king of smartwatches right now. I'll go on that in the next topic here. I'm gonna do a video on that too. But way overhyped. But the Consumer Report and a couple of these other big tech reviewers that I actually listened to and watched, they pretty much flat out, they're like, this is the most important. Well, sorry. Another quick thing. This is technically an important device out. So for those people that call me an Apple hater, like, look, I'm supporting it too. I am happy that this is out, because this is finally, now everybody in the world knows about smartwatches. Finally. I mean, that's the only thing I'm thankful for, because now everyone's going to get serious about smartwatches because of Apple. So I will give it to that. But let's put that aside. Oh, actually, another thing too. I mean, I made tons of video about this, but guys, like, for those of you who have smartwatches, whether it's the Moto 360, LG, Pebble, whatnot, everyone just assumes it's an Apple Watch. They know what it looks like. The image is right here. It looks like that. But apparently they think it's I don't know. Let's move on. But this watch is not the best watch out there. And I know all of you probably support my statement, but a lot of the Apple people, even now the Consumer Report, I watched their entire video on it. They didn't really release the data or anything, but they focused on entirely the wrong things, in my opinion. They focused on some key aspects, but they didn't focus on what you needed to focus on. So let me get some of this stuff out of the way. It's scratch proof. I mean, it's got some new glass on it, so it will resist scratch. That's fine. It is waterproof. Apple didn't really announce that, but it has some difficulties with water, but it could be in water and it'll last. But I still recommend people swimming with the damn thing. How durable is it? They didn't do a drop test. All they did was a scratch test. They didn't drop it. Like, you guys have seen I don't know if you guys seen it. You guys have seen my what's it called, my Gear S durability test, where I literally put this thing through hell, scratched it, put syrup on it, rocks, teas, boiling water, cold water, dropped it from here, and over there, and 2 stories up in the air, and I put it through a dryer with all this crap in it, and it still works fine. It was great. When I demonstrate, this is how I demonstrate to people. I take my watch off. I'm like, and because it's funny, people are reporting that there's already reports of people dropping the Apple Watch and it cracking. Look, folks, I can just throw it, and I'll be okay with it. Yes, I know that's carpet, but I'm perfectly fine with it. Oh, sorry. Let me grab it. Sorry if I'm talking so loud, but, like, I'm just so angry with them because they just focused on. I mean, performance is good. I mean, you need, obviously, yeah, performance is important. Display quality is important. Usability, hardware, all that's important. But the thing is, they omitted so many things. Because I'll put it this way, a lot of people argue to me that the Apple Watch is better, and on top of that, Android Wear is better because of all the apps. You have thousands and thousands of apps that you could use on this thing. I mean, look at that dial. All of those things are apps that you could use. But I'm gonna tell you right now, I've had smartwatches for the last 2 years. All that is useless. It is utterly useless. Because I'm actually one of the people that agree, like, you don't need to replace your phone with this. It doesn't need to be a replacement. And everyone says these are great companion devices. And in my opinion, leave it at that. Because these apps, well, I'll address that statement in a bit here. But you did say, I'll get back to it. But these apps are useless. Even the Gear S has a good amount of apps out there. Pretty useful ones and cool ones. I downloaded them, tried it, and I did have Android Wear for a couple months too. So like this argument is very valid. I downloaded so many of these apps that I thought would be useful and cool, but they were utterly useless. Yes, you can use them on here, but I can tell you this, guys, right now, every single one of you is not used to leaving your hand up like this for longer than 2 seconds, or a couple seconds. No one is. No, this posture is an unnatural position. And for those of you listening, my wrist is up like I'm looking at a time. When you start using these apps, you're starting to look at your wrist and everything and try to focus on a small screen. And the reason why the Gear S is the best right now is because it's a bigger screen. You can actually read what you're doing. But that aside, like, even with the Android Wear, after trying the apps a few times, I eventually went back to just using the phone because I had the phone in my pocket. And that's what it's good for. I mean, 2 years later, I pretty much just use I use this thing typically just to see who's calling, to answer some of the calls, control my media, look at my emails. Sometimes I reply through it, get my text messages, and most importantly, scroll through all my notifications. And yes, I do use the fitness, the tracker, the heart rate monitor. I use a couple other things here, and the Samsung Wallet. Oh my gosh, that's my favorite. Not the Samsung and Apple Pay, Google. No. I'm talking about like just storing your key ring cards into your watch. It's just so much more convenient in my opinion. And then on top of that, like if you forgot your phone, you know how to find it through the device. But that's all I really ended up using for it. It really is. I mean, I use a bunch of the other stuff too. I keep getting more notifications, but I use it for the other stuff too. But I use it for the bare functions. And you might say that's blasphemy. That's just weird. Like, why would you not use the apps? No. I keep using this thing instead of a cheaper one because of the usability of it. I mean, look at this thing. I tested it. I'm gonna be releasing a video of me reviewing the Apple Watch. Probably not next week, but the week after that. But it is that's so dumb. I mean, what else can I say about that? Like, look at my Gear S, folks. I know you folks you can't see. I scroll up and there's my apps, clear as day and big, and I know what I'm doing with text and everything. I can easily scroll through them. I don't need a stupid dial to zoom in and like it's just that aside, it's just not the best. I mean, and the clear cut why it's not, why the Gear S will beat it, and the one thing that a lot of my friends who are Apple users were actually not happy with because they knew about my Gear S because I showed it off to them, but they're very unhappy with the fact that the Apple Watch does not have a standalone mode. And I know quickly the Android Wear and Apple Watch can connect remotely to your device via Wi-Fi. But Wi-Fi is not everywhere, folks. Walking around and going to the park, you can't leave your phone at home if you want to get your calls, your texts, your emails, your notifications. For all those people who are notification, consumers, you won't get that. The Gear S have a registered SIM card because there is a SIM card slot in here, folks. Those of you watching the video on the podcast, there is a SIM card, folks. Because you can use the Gear S as a standalone device, meaning I leave my phone at home. I can go out for a run, go run errands, literally just leave my house and I'll still get all my notification calls, texts, and everything. On top of that, I can still make calls, reply to them, and do everything. Surf the internet, stream music, play videos. I can do everything on here. Navigation. One thing, navigation on this thing is really cool. I'll get to the Gear S soon. You're with the Android Wear too. I'm gonna bring them in. I'm not gonna leave them out. I'm gonna bring them in too. You don't have that. I'm surprised a lot of these watchmakers aren't adding that in. I'm really shocked at that. I'm not sure why they're not. Because for me, that is how you define the ultimate companion device. And just the last couple things on the Apple Watch. There's so many points I don't like about it, but at the same time, I actually, it looks good. Not aesthetically. I mean, like, once you get through the apps and everything, the screen is good. It really is. And it feels okay, but I just think it's ugly. Number one, I think it's ugly. I'm surprised that they didn't put a curved screen, but you can guess, folks, that they're going to put something like the Samsung Curve on the next version, and they're going to sell another 50 million of these things, but it looks ugly to me. And the fact that they're charging asinine amounts of money for these bands, dear God, it is just dumb. I mean, I know I'm selling the metal bands or the Gear S right now for $60 because that's covering all the import costs, the service fees, and him developing the crap. Like, I know that, but we're gonna get cheaper with that. Hopefully, if it's successful. But amounts of money for the $500 for a stainless steel band, $1,000 for the aluminum finish and like a color. For the price of one stainless steel high-end Apple Watch, you can go out and buy a Samsung Note 4 retail and a Samsung Gear S full retail with warranties and cases and screen protectors. And pay maybe a month of your plan. Like, it's just so stupid. But people are going to buy it. I mean, I understand why they will. That's a whole nother story. But true tech folk, true technology people will focus on the tech. It's got to look good, feel good, but most importantly, it's got to work well and be functional in my life. And this is where I will segue into why the Samsung Gear S is the king of smartwatches.